Hi everyone, my name is Ofelia Hernandez. I am the Education Abroad Advisor here at Pacific, and this is very exciting. This is our first episode of the Abroadcast since the pandemic, and we're going to start with introductions, and we'll start here. All right.
Hi, my name is Madeline Brown. I studied abroad in Madrid, Spain for the 2022-2023 school year.
Hi, my name is Estefania. I'm a senior here studying psychology. I studied in Thessaloniki, Greece for the entire school year too.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Neal. I'm a senior studying Media X. I studied abroad in London for the spring 2023 semester, and I did an internship in South Korea for the summer.
Hi, my name is Kanika Kemka. I am a music industry studies major, and I studied abroad in Seoul, South Korea for the spring 23 semester.
Right. Well, thank you for the introductions. And for our first question, I will be asking, why did you study abroad? And this time, I'm going to start this way.
Abroad, okay. So I studied abroad because, one, it's a really cool opportunity, and I don't think I would be happy with myself if I didn't take the opportunity to do it. And it was definitely something I was looking forward to in my college experience, was studying abroad. And also, like, you just kind of get to immerse yourself in another culture for an extended period of time without having to worry about, like, money or, like, well, obviously budgeting, but, like, having a job and trying to find a place and all that kind of stuff. Like, it comes with being a university student.
For me, I was not planning on studying abroad, but my junior year I was just feeling really stumped and things hadn't gone the way I'd planned for them. A lot of my plans for junior year had fell through. So I was talking to my parents and they said, why don't you just look into studying abroad? The week of application due date, I went to the office and I got everything together and I went super last minute.
Yes, I can attest to that.
Oh my god. Why did I want to study abroad? I didn't have like an initial reason. I was kind of curious. After like I talked with my family and everything, they kind of supported it and they were like, oh, go see a new culture and everything. Plus, since I do study psychology and I have been looking at the field here in the US, I have learned like a few things that I don't like in the psych field here. And going abroad and seeing how psychology is treated over there and like how they initiate therapies and all that stuff, I really liked it. So I stayed there for the whole year and I really enjoyed it.
I decided to study abroad kind of before I even like committed to UOP, because I always knew I wanted to study international relations and I wanted to travel a lot. And I just kind of figured studying abroad would be one of the best ways to do it as a student, like not formally employed, not like having a big kid job type of thing. So my major, international relations, I don't think I said that earlier, it's actually required to study abroad for at least a semester. So it just worked out perfectly because I wanted to be studying abroad at some point in college. And then I found this major, which makes it required, and then we have a lot of resources that help me figure out what classes I need to take while abroad, and so it just worked out perfectly.
All right. So I noticed one of the things is that you guys studied abroad for the academic year, right? Mm-hmm. And then you guys studied abroad for the semester. How do you think your experience went, being that it was a whole year in comparison to a whole semester?
Well, I feel like we've talked about this before. I feel like when we were both in our programs and we saw people like kind of like going after the one semester finished, I feel like I still had so much to learn about like the culture. Like I still had so many people to meet. Like I had like so many things to do that like still there in Greece, and then like because we got to travel a lot like during our stay there too. So I don't know, like it kind of made me realize like even a year wasn't enough for me at least. Like I feel like there's so much out there in the world that even just being here, it's like we think this is kind of like in our way, like, oh, like the center, you know, like, oh, the United States. But then like going over there, it's like you see like this other, like, there's a whole world out there for you to like discover. I don't know if you want to.
I definitely agree with that. I was raised in Stockton, and I've lived in Stockton my whole life, and I just really wanted to experience somewhere else for a whole school year. And it just worked out perfectly that I was able to do that, and I really wanted to become really immersed in the Spanish culture, and there's no better way to do that than to stay for a long time. And I'm really glad I did, because during winter break when everybody was leaving, I knew I would not have been ready to go home. So I think it was a good choice for me to stay for a year.
What about you guys? You guys went for the semester?
Yeah, I feel like there is definitely, I can attest to a semester not being enough. It's a good 5 months to be abroad and to be immersed in the culture, but by the end of it there was still a lot more that I wanted to do in England that I didn't get the chance to.
If it was up to me, I would have stayed a whole year. But it just so worked out, like, with my major and the classes that I had saved up until that point, I could only go for a semester. And it just, it went by so quickly. And so I wish I could have stayed the whole year. Like, it felt way too short, and I was like, there's still so much I have to do, so much, left to explore, so much left to learn. But it just didn't fit in my schedule. But yeah, no, I mean, even just talking to the people who were in my program but had been there for the whole year, even they were like, a year still feels too short. And so, yeah, if I could have gone a year, I would have.
What would you say are some of the benefits of studying abroad based on your own experiences?
I think problem solving in really tricky situations is definitely one of the benefits that I kind of gained, especially if you're not 100% fluent or even very knowledgeable on that other language at all. Even just something as just basic skills, I don't know, just learning how to use a metro system or a subway system is really, really important, and there's no better way to do it than to just throw yourself in and figure it out. So yeah, I think problem solving, and then just I got my phone stolen at one point, and so learning how
Tell us some more.
Yeah, so if you go to Spain, don't just hold your phone on the subway, because it got snatched out of my hands when I was using it. Yeah, they're big on pickpocketing there, but yeah, so that just taught me just how to react in that type of situation, where the police stations are, how to talk to the police in that situation, how to file a police report in another language. So problem solving.
Okay, problem solving. One.
I feel you learn a lot about the culture. You learn a lot about skill sets and all that stuff. But I feel the main thing that stood out to me is that I learned a lot about myself, things that I did not know, how I thought, or even being immersed in a culture where it's because honestly Greece, they don't really like Americans. So I learned a lot about how my Mexican culture kind of aligned with them. So and I actually learned things that I actually do value a lot in my other culture was there. So I feel learning a lot about yourself is something that, yeah, you say oh, you're gonna learn this, you're gonna learn that, but it's even things that you didn't even realize yourself about yourself. I feel that's one of the things that mainly stood out to me when I got back.
I kind of want to piggy off that, because I kind of had a very similar experience where my other culture, which is being Indian, that helped me in Korea a lot. I feel I was able to use that as a kind of guide on how to act in a way, because I was there's a lot of, again, you're saying, values that align more with my other culture than being American. And also you do really learn a lot about yourself, and you learn what you value. You learn how to be a person in a way, because even in college sometimes it can be a little bit sheltering almost, because you're in the same culture that you kind of grew up in, especially if you're an American going to college in America. And so kind of putting yourself in a college in a different culture teaches you a lot of things about yourself, and what you want to see yourself become, or like
just like traveling alone and navigating that in itself can be really stressful, but also just like because every day in London there was often times where I would go out into the city all by myself, taking the train and tube, supporting myself because I had to cook for myself, plan meals, so learning that in an environment that really forced me to was helpful.
Thank you. I keep hearing this theme of discovering who you are, but also being kind of like independent. But I want to go a little bit off in terms of how was it creating friendships while you were abroad?
For me, my program allowed me to create like my first group of friends. So I went through CIEE, and we had an orientation that was like specifically for the university I went to, which was Yonsei University. So through like that mandatory like orientation, I was able to meet a lot of other people who were in the program, and through that I was able to kind of create first friendships. And also, CIEE had this really cool program called Soulmates, where they would, they would plan activities with local students from various universities, like locally, and even some people who would commute just to be a part of this program. And so you were able to like go do really cool things around Seoul, like dress up in like the traditional clothing and go to one of the palaces that is there. You were able to do that with local Korean people as like your guide, and they were kind of like explaining you history, and just you were able to go around and like get to know local people too. So it was really nice that I was able to, through my program, meet people, but also in general, like in my classes I was able to meet people too.
And for the audience who might be a little confused, University of the Pacific is partnered with 4 different providers, including CIEE, ISEP, USAC, and IES Abroad. So basically, we work with different organizations to provide extra services for students. So if you're ever interested, you can reach out to them as well.
I went through USAC, and I really loved the system with USAC because we were able to get the emails of people in our program like months prior. And so that was really nice to be able, because I was the only person from UOP going on this program. So being able to reach out and start getting to know people beforehand was really, really nice. And that's how I made my friends and my roommates. And so just going there already knowing people made the whole thing, like socializing, a lot easier because you already had someone like who's also new and in the same boat as you, also making friends and that.
Yeah, I had a similar experience of meeting people both through the program and classes. And because of that, since I was taking classes with a lot of just locals, that's how I met like other like British people through my classes, but then through my program I met Australians, other Americans, Canadians, someone from Norway. And then my program, so it was massive. There was at least 200 other Americans and 100 Australians. And so for us, they had a optional travel program where they took us to just different places around England on the weekends. And through that, I made a lot of friends. I made 2 really great friends with these girls from Australia. And so that's how I kind of made my connections. But also, the first week I got there, I made it my goal to talk to as many people studying abroad as I could. Like, every time I saw someone I recognized from orientation, I just walked up to them because I didn't want to, like, limit myself. I didn't want to, like, get trapped with no friends while I was there.
Well, I've had, like, since I stayed for the whole year, the first semester, it was kind of like how you said that, like the whole orientation type thing. I lived in an apartment in the city, but it was like a whole building just for like the Americans that stayed there or that went to American College of Thessaloniki. But then, like, my second year, I kind of did branch out. I could not tell you a single American that went to the school. Like, I had, like, Albanian friends. I had, like, Greek friends. I had, like, so many people, like, that were from there and, like, from other places in Europe.